The last thing Lee wants is for Luna to go after Bill Spencer's, Don Diamant, son and get herself sent back to the slammer. Nevertheless, Luna won't give up on her pursuit of Will and will continue to plot some fake positive pregnancy results. Lee won't realize Luna's already gone too far with Will thanks to that night as a masked mystery woman. At Forrester Creations on Monday's B&B episode, Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, will lose his temper as he reflects on Brooke's hold on Ridge. Brooke will give as good as she gets and will point out that Taylor was the one who popped the question, not Ridge. It'll be proof as far as Brooke is concerned that Taylor's pushing the whole marriage thing. Thomas will gripe about Brooke previously derailing Ridge and Taylor's bliss before insisting that it stops now. We'll see Thomas defend his parents' love and the new chapter they're going to share. However, Thomas won't have updates yet on the bad news at the Forrester guesthouse, where Ridge just admitted he couldn't pick a wedding date or marry Taylor. Taylor will question why Ridge is pumping the brakes, but she may already know the answer deep down. This is about Ridge and the magnetic pull he still feels to his Logan, especially after Brooke's close call in Italy. That said, it'll be easier to blame Brooke for manipulating the situation, and Taylor won't hold back when it comes to Eric either. Taylor will accuse Eric of messing with Ridge's head and pressuring him to leave her. Ridge will make it clear that he's going to love Taylor forever, even if it's not exactly the kind of love she had in mind. Taylor will feel her last chance at happiness with Ridge slipping away, so she'll declare that she won't let him do this. We'll see Taylor deliver a frantic plea and try to keep her engagement intact, so she'll start to look pretty pathetic. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Ridge and Brooke indeed have a romantic reunion in their future, so Taylor's spinout may not delay the inevitable for long. CDL will have other exciting bold and the beautiful spoilers, updates and news to read up on, so make us your favorite B&B California, the City of Angels, a place of high fashion and even higher stakes drama, was rocked to its core today as one of its most anticipated events collapsed in spectacular fashion. The long-awaited wedding of Ridge Forrester and Dr. Taylor Hayes was not to be, leaving a trail of shattered dreams and searing accusations in its wake. In an explosive confrontation that will be talked about for years, a devastated Taylor pointed the finger of blame directly at the two people she holds most responsible for her heartbreak, Ridge's father, Eric Forrester, and the ever-present shadow over their lives, Brooke Logan. The air at the Forrester estate was thick with tension, a stark contrast to the festive atmosphere that had been planned for what was supposed to be a joyous occasion. The exquisite floral arrangements, the carefully curated guest list, the breathtaking haute couture wedding gown, all of it felt like a cruel joke as the truth unfolded. Ridge, the man who had promised Taylor his heart and a future together, had once again, at the 11th hour, chosen to walk away. But this wasn't just a case of cold feet, it was a devastating betrayal, and according to Taylor, it was a direct result of malicious manipulation. The scene began with a distraught Taylor, her carefully crafted composure unraveling before the stunned eyes of her children, Steffi and Thomas. The heartbreak was etched on her face, but it was quickly replaced by a white-hot fury. She knew, with a chilling certainty, who had orchestrated this latest twist in her life's painful saga. Her target was not Ridge, but the people who had poisoned his mind against their union. "This is on you, Eric." Taylor's voice, usually calm and measured, was a raw shriek that echoed through the mansion's halls. "You promised me you wouldn't interfere. You promised you'd let your son be happy with the woman he loves, with the family he has built with me. But you couldn't do it, could you? You had to get into his head, to whisper Brooke's name in his ear until he was so confused he couldn't see straight." Eric, looking both guilty and defensive, stood his ground. He had, after all, been vocal about his support for Ridge and Brooke's enduring love story. He had seen the way Ridge's heart had been torn in Italy, and he'd felt it was his duty as a father to remind his son of the love that had defined so much of his life. Eric argued that he was simply trying to save Ridge from making a mistake, but Taylor saw it as nothing less than an act of war. "You've always been on her side, haven't you?" Taylor spat, her voice laced with venom. "You've always been her champion, no matter how many times she's hurt your family. You talk about what's best for Ridge, but all you've ever wanted is to put him back with Brooke, so you could feel like your family is complete again. You don't care about my happiness, or the happiness of my children. You just care about her." The her was, of course, Brooke Logan, who had just arrived at the mansion, perhaps sensing the impending chaos. Her presence only served to fuel Taylor's rage. Brooke, with a look of concern and a hint of her trademark self-righteousness, tried to intervene, but Taylor cut her off with a scathing glare. "Don't you dare pretend to be innocent in all of this, Brooke," Taylor seethed. "You are the puppeteer, and Eric is your willing pawn. You've been whispering in his ear, just as you've been doing to Ridge. You came back from Italy and did what you always do. You presented yourself as a victim, a damsel in distress who needs Ridge to save her, and he fell for it again. Brooke, for once, was left speechless. The accusation hit its mark. She had, in fact, been relying on the memory of Ridge saving her life in Italy to reignite their connection. It was a shared moment of near tragedy that she believed was a sign from destiny, a powerful reminder of their unbreakable bond. Now, in Taylor's eyes, it was nothing more than a cheap trick, a calculated move to break up her family. You manipulate him with your tears and your vulnerability, Taylor continued, her voice rising with every word. You use your shared history as a weapon. And you have no idea what it's like to have the man you love ripped away from you, do you, Brooke? Because you're the one who always does the ripping. The confrontation was a brutal exhibition of the decades-long rivalry between the two women. The wounds from past battles were torn open, and the emotional fallout was immense. Ridge, who was not present for the initial verbal assault, was soon found by Thomas and Steffi, who were just as furious as their mother. They confronted their father, demanding to know how he could do this to Taylor, to their family, again. Ridge, tormented and torn, confessed that he couldn't go through with the wedding. He admitted that Eric's words had been a constant refrain in his mind, and that the memories of Italy with Brooke were impossible to ignore. He was, as always, a man caught between two worlds, unable to fully commit to either. The dramatic conclusion of the episode left fans reeling. The hope of a final happy ending for Ridge and Taylor has been dashed, and the love triangle, the very foundation of the show, is more volatile than ever. Taylor's raw emotional outburst has set the stage for a new level of animosity. She is no longer just heartbroken, she is a woman scorned, and she is now convinced that Brooke and Eric are the architects of her misery. Will this be the final straw for Taylor? Will she finally break free from Ridge and find a happiness of her own? Or will her desire for revenge against Brooke and Eric lead her down a path of self-destruction? And what about Ridge? Will he finally make a decision, or will he continue to waffle between the two women who have defined his life? The answers to these questions are yet to come, but one thing is for sure. The Forrester and Logan families are on a collision course, and the next chapter of this epic rivalry is going to be explosive. Tune in tomorrow to see the fallout from this shocking betrayal, as the drama on The Bold and the Beautiful reaches a fever pitch.
Tools.